Hi, I'm Rhianna Hogan Cerro. I am a fashion designer. I'm from the area, but I lived in New York City for quite a while, designing with some major companies, and I moved back up here to raise a family. I have two great little girls, little artists themselves, and my work is, it's always fashion-based. I have a passion for illustration. I love the colors you can use in fashion. You can really take risks, especially on paper. So with fashion as a basis, I have started to incorporate some other forms of media. I often like to use a mesh type of fabric to add sparkle or shine to the drawings, or I've taken my own photography and turned it into a canvas that I then paint on, so great graffiti backgrounds. I tend to sketch from life, whether it's from a photograph or a magazine. I feel like I'm always influenced by something else, even if it's without my knowledge, because I think being a visual person, it's hard to not kind of catalog something and bring it about at a later time. My favorite way to work is probably from a magazine, because I feel like in fashion photography they have such great poses and they're already a great visual. It's just turning it into something a little more abstract. Every season my inspiration kind of changes because people will do things that I love and they're in the moment, they are the inspiration. I do custom illustrations and those are always really fun, especially for the people that I know. I do like a your life in fashion drawing where I show things they've worn through time. I don't have a favorite piece. And especially some of my favorite illustrations are based on other designers' works, like an Alexander McQueen or Marc Jacobs for Louis Vuitton. So I can't feel like I own those illustrations even though I love them. So honestly, I think my favorite piece is whatever I'm working on currently, because I'm always moving forward, and as I finally get things on paper, I'm so relieved to get them out of the head and onto something. But I am loving this mix of graffiti and fashion. It's just so, the juxtaposition of the gritty with the feminine is, I think, lovely. And my advice to artists is, stay true to what you like, obviously, and stay true to what is you, but also take risk and don't be afraid to take the inspiration of what somebody else is doing and try to put your own twist on it. I don't think you should feel bad about not doing something completely out of the box original every time, because there are other people with great ideas, and if you can build upon those, you can come up with something even more amazing than you would have thought. I think you should feel free to use different materials. I think that's where my work has really expanded, where I went from, in design school we always use markers and like Prismacolor pencils and marker paper, and that was it. And that can make a beautiful illustration, but when you add layers of fabric or gouache or watercolor or photography, I think that's kind of an evolution of fashion illustration that has me really excited. Right now I'm working on something new for me. I'm putting my photography onto canvas and I'm going to add layers of fashion illustrations, mostly in black and white, kind of graffiti inspired, on top of the photographs. And the photographs all came from a recent trip to New York City. I love cityscapes and urban settings, but maybe I took a picture of the ceiling on the Highline Park, or I took a picture of something that is beautiful in its entirety, but I try to just take a piece of it. So I'm using those settings that I love as the backdrop for my art. So it's new for me, and I'm really loving the outcome. What I hope to accomplish in my work for myself is to have something beautiful to look at, and I hope that other people, even if fashion illustration isn't their particular style, that they can appreciate, it as an art form. And also, I love to have great things to look at, and I love color, so that's usually what I'm going for. And I have started incorporating some text into my artwork, funny sayings, or just something that could be taken a few different ways. So I'm loving the way my art is going. It definitely has a sense of humor that makes me smile. I think it's actually amazing working with the art in the public eye, how they're so passionate about local art and really striving to help artists put their work out there to be seen. And just, I think art, it makes people think, it can make you happy, it can make you feel emotions, and I think it's just a great break from, you know, the everyday. My website is www.sketchdesignlounge.com, and I also post about twice a week different illustrations or ideas and inspiration on my Facebook page. I'll also be opening an art studio in downtown Glens Falls. I'm slated to open July. The store will have my fashion illustrations on display, as well as maybe even some student artwork, because I'll be teaching fashion illustration and we'll have design and sewing classes as well. What I really love about fashion illustration, and especially as it pertains to younger artists, is that it's acceptable to use a croquis, which is basically a figure that you've already made and you reuse it. What is great about that is that fashion illustration can kind of move quicker and you can get your ideas onto the paper really fast, versus if you're trying to draw the perfect figure every time, it feels much less attainable, because I think drawing figures is one of the hardest things that you can draw. I think it's great for anybody that's looking to be creative and maybe has an interest in fashion or just loves color. I think it's a great way to express yourself, and the same goes for fashion. You know, when you think about kids and how they can forge their identity, fashion is such a harmless way to do something unique. And you know, I sometimes question the vanity of it, and I certainly don't want people to feel, I don't want fashion to make people feel bad. I love the positive side of fashion, where you can put something on and have it be you, and have it, you know, put your stamp on the world. I would just like to say thank you to Shauna from Minky Mink, because she has been so supportive and so wonderful to let me use her space. And I have to, like, her own style, I think, is really is inspirational to me, because she takes risks with her selection, and it's been great working with her.
Do aardvarks even make a sound?